Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Otakuology Podcast. I'm your host, Otaku Mike. With me, as always, is my podcast partner, Jen. He wants sloppy joes for dinner, Graves. And today we are talking about Lazarus, episode 9. I think. Maybe.
Yeah, it's episode 9. I was like, did you forget?
I have to say, starting off, I didn't think this episode was the best, but I thought it had some pretty interesting points at times.
I'm just gonna start out by saying that the beginning of this was fucking shit.
The beginning of this was like, I was like, what the fuck are we doing?
It was like going to a seminar on pick something that people don't usually like.
I really thought this was going to be a clip show.
I didn't think that. I thought that this was going to be the episode where like it was all information driven on stuff. And it was going to be like we were in a classroom the entire time, because that's kind of where it was leading to.
When they start pulling up the slides and the pictures of the previous episodes, I was like, "This is going to be a fucking clip show. I know it is."
Yeah,
and I was like, "Oh, it's not a clip show."
Yeah. No, and I mean, I feel like if they would have cut this down in time and covered more of it, like we didn't need these guys walking in. We could have had them coming to the door and then not their entire path of walking up and shit. Like there was I feel like a lot of chunks of stuff, even if we shaved off like a bunch of like minutes and stuff here and there, like it would have made it a lot better, because honestly everything we talked about at the beginning of this episode was already something we talked about at the end of the last episode.
Did we?
Yeah, I mean, it was them talking to Hirsch about how they weren't exactly like an independent agency. They were a government agency, and they were under, this and that.
They were under the NSA. It was like they were under the NSA, but they were like not controlled by the NSA, if I remember correctly. I think it was.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get into this and talk about this episode. Well, whatever we can talk about it, I guess, because
to
be honest, I had questions and I was a little confused watching this at times.
Yeah.
So I thought the guy at the beginning was the killer that they try to get to assassinate Axel. But it's not. It's a different person.
You mean the guy with the commander?
No, he's the guy with like the trench coat. He's eating the fucking steak.
Oh, okay.
Guy. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So like our episode starts out with, we see this guy. He's at this steakhouse. He has like glasses, like a trench coat and stuff, and he's like eating this steak, and he eats steak there like every day. It seems like.
Yeah, he does. He brings it up.
And then the waiter's like, "Oh, are you sure you don't want something else?" He's like, "No, I need the proper intake for my protein."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "What the fuck is going on?" And I'm honestly really turned off by, at this point, watching this guy eat steak.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't even like good looking steak. It was like him cutting the steak.
Yeah.
And I was like, ugh. Like,
so pro tip, you should do what I do.
What?
I watch it to the title screen of the next episode every time we watch them, just so like I don't have to get through anything like that.
Well, I mean, it was like that was.
So I completely forgot the guy was at a steakhouse.
Well, like it goes and it goes like after the opening credits, like it jumps right into that, I believe.
It jumps into them having the thing.
Yeah.
Where the guys are talking up and they're talking to like the colonel or whatever it is. And
yeah. And so like we see like this guy, he's at the steakhouse and he is eating and he's done. And we see like this really slow walk of him going through this city. I don't remember what city it is. And with this nice music playing and stuff, I really liked this scene. And it took me out of it because they focused in on him so long of
Yeah.
him walking. And we see people running like in between him and in the background. And I'm like, what the heck is going on here? And then
Yeah.
like there's like an active shooter just shooting people and walking around him, not shooting him, but shooting other people. And then like the shooter gets shot down and the police are like out there like doing like a little investigation. I'm like, this is the weirdest scene I think I've seen in an anime that I was never expecting to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was interesting, and I kind of liked it as a artistic scene, but
Well,
like,
and you also don't know, like, after we find out stuff later on, I would
yeah,
say if that was probably like a mercenary for hire, if that was just some guy doing whatever.
yeah,
I felt like probably what it was is, since we were getting to the point now, is like anybody that had past transgressions against somebody else, like maybe the guy that the other guy was shooting, maybe like he had slept with his wife, he had done something, like all these people, it's the world coming to an end where all these people are like, everything's out the window, fuck it, like I'm gonna go do this, I'm gonna go
yeah,
do that. Why does part of the stuff happen? Why does part of the stuff I do matter anymore? Because the world's going to be gone. And I think at that point it's like 11 days, something like that.
yeah. Because at the end of this, I think we're at 10.
Yeah.
By the end of
Yeah.
this episode, I think it is.
But I mean, I think that's a really good depiction, honestly, of kind of where it's going. There's a book that I read in high school called On the Beach. And it has another scene like that where there's people that have all this petrol that they actually like stored, and they're racing cars. And one of the scenes is, or one of the things as you're reading is, there's a guy who like turns wrong and his car flips over and starts burning and takes people out, and everybody that's in the stands is still just sitting there watching. They don't go help. They don't do anything else. And in that book, it's because fallout is coming. So everybody knows they're going to basically be burned alive anyway. So they don't care about saving somebody. They don't care about who died. They don't care about any of this other stuff. It's for like whatever enjoyment you can get or anything else. And, it's just this big kind of end of the world scope of things.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. I guess it's probably similar to that. We don't really getting context of why this is happening at this
yeah.
point. But then we move into the point that you were talking about, where we see, which I finally found out what his name was for this episode. His name's Abel, is the bald-headed guy Hirsch has been talking to.
Yeah.
Who kind of, sort of is over her, I think, for Lazarus. I think it is.
Yeah, that seems right.
And he's talking, and they're getting ready to go into the NSA for like this hearing about Lazarus, or team, what was it, S-22, I think they called it.
Yeah, it was something weird.
Something weird. But you want to take this part?
Well, before that, we had where they were getting ready to walk in, so we see some familiar faces and stuff. But we have where they kind of got introduced to this. I think it was a colonel.
Yeah, I don't remember what the colonel's name was. And then there's this guy, he works for INSCOM, I think it is.
Yeah. See, and that guy, I thought when I first saw him was the guy eating the steak.
Yeah, no, because they look very similar.
That is one complaint I will make on this episode, is both those characters look so fucking close. I mean, like, if they're not the same character, I would almost say that they were twins, and the only thing that's different on them is the haircut. One of them has long hair and a ponytail, the other one doesn't.
They look very similar. No, I thought the exact same thing as well.
Because I was like, you're talking to a guy about killing somebody, and I'm like, is it the colonel talking to the other guy? And then you see the other guy walk up, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And that's what it was. It's two separate people. Their
Yeah.
character shit just looks so close. Like they don't stand out at all. That's the
Yeah.
fucked up thing. As close as you and I have talked about Axel kind of looking like Spike. I mean, that's what these guys are. And I'd never think that we would have that in the same show. Maybe there would be another guy, like maybe somebody looked close to Jet, or somebody looked close to like Gene from Samurai Champloo, something like that. But not we were going to get somebody in the same goddamn show that looked exactly like another character that they were going to interact with in the same damn show.
No,
Like,
no, it's like they do look very similar. Like, and like when we got towards the end where we see Sarayu, I think his name is.
I don't know.
Sarayun or whatever his name is, like the assassin guy they hire. Like
Yeah.
he looked. I thought until we got to the end, like I thought they were the same character. It just he was like playing it off like he wasn't the assassin, is what I thought, but I was wrong.
Oh, the long-haired guy?
Yeah,
Yeah, no, he wasn't the assassin.
yeah. When he goes off to
And-
like when he gives us like his business card or whatever,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I thought he was
See,
playing it off.
I thought he was going to be the assassin too. I didn't know he was going to be the coordinator. So that was, I agree with you on that. That was a little weird because I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I was like, what's going on?
I thought that guy was supposed to be the killer. And I was like, oh, maybe this is kind of like Sakamoto days. And there's like a group of killers and whatnot. And then I'm like, we only have 3 episodes left. They better not be fucking introducing this is a whole nother arc of characters that you're supposed to know about.
When they said like, oh, we're gonna introduce like a ghost, I thought they were gonna get like the hacker chick from like one of the previous episodes, where I thought they were gonna bring her back. Like that's what I thought they were talking about. I didn't think they were talking about an assassin. Because they make a point to like be like, oh, we know nothing about Axel Gilberto.
Yeah.
Like all his stuff got erased and whatnot.
Yeah.
But continue. Sorry, I interrupted.
So we have where the guys meet.
Yeah.
Our guy, our bald headed guy, and we have the colonel guy, and they meet. And of course, the other guy's kind of standoffish. They go from there, and of course, they go in, and we see Hirsch, and we see them, and they're all sitting down for this conference, which it's the United Nations and everything, trying to cover, what to do in this event.
It's the NSA. It's not the United Nations.
Oh, okay.
Wrong organization.
Because I was like, I completely forgot what this group is called.
It's the NSA.
Okay. Yeah. And so they do that. Well, right when they have this meeting, we also have, I forgot the doctor guy's name.
Abe. Oh, Dr. Skinner.
Okay, Dr. Skinner. I mean, at this point, I almost feel like he's irrelevant to the story, even though it's all about him. But we've been doing enough stuff. I'm like, I don't see how relevant he exactly is.
Skinner.
But, yeah. So Dr. Skinner then has like a little thing pop on why they were going to talk about what to do with these guys, because they ran down like the list of all the little fuck ups that Lazarus has had so far. And, some of it I kind of thought was irrelevant. Some of it, I didn't think was that important. Well, majority of it I didn't think was important. And then the other thing was, on top of that, I'm like, okay, well, aren't we getting close to this deadline? Like, why is there a fucking meeting on all this shit?
And they bring that up too.
That gets brought up. So Skinner's video pops on. He's going to be basically the first victim of Hopna. Everybody has these flu-like symptoms and stuff that they've talked about, and that they're all going. I'm still going to hold true, honestly. Like, I'm going to still go all in on the fact of part of this is fake. I don't know what would give everybody this fever or whatever. Maybe it's a different virus. Maybe it's something else. But I'm going to still die on my hill of part of this is fake, because I don't know why they would include anything from Skinner telling his grandma that they will see each other after all this stuff is done, unless he's religious. And we've never been led anyway that he's religious, except for when he went to the cult and they copied him into an AI.
Yeah.
So he wasn't even religious in that. But yeah, they bring up like where the group's getting burned, the group's chapel getting burned down, like we saw I think 3 episodes ago. That the oil rig got burned down last episode. Just some of the other stuff that has happened, which I don't necessarily feel like you can put it all on them. And if it's
Yeah.
all getting rid off, then why would it matter?
True.
Because it seems like everything has kind of been like, cut and tied that, well, it was this group's fault. It wasn't necessarily Lazarus, such and such stuff like that. You can say, and of course, and they're like, oh, we also have pictures of them using somebody's chopper, from blah, 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 blah. And it's like, this is minutes clicking down here, guys. Like,
which they
where
even
are we
say
going?
that. And the
Yeah.
guy who runs INSCOM, he's very much against Lazarus at this point. He's like the opposition.
Yeah.
He brings in somebody who has been like keeping a tab on Lazarus, which is Leland, apparently.
Yeah. And it was really weird finding that out too,
Mm-hmm.
because when we've covered backstories, I feel like Leland's been in everything enough to not think of him as we haven't covered his backstory.
Yeah.
But then really thinking about this episode, we haven't covered Leland's backstory
Which
like
I
at
think his
all.
backstory is like the next episode.
Probably.
I think it's the next episode.
But up to this point, we haven't. And
No.
so, like, them saying, like, oh, that's the spy. Because instantly when they said that, oh, we have a spy, I was caught in between him and possibly Doug. And I was like, wait, we've had stuff for Doug. We know where Doug's been. I was like, it's got to be Leland. And then he popped up and I was like, well, this uneventful shit right here.
And we have a conversation, like, as this is going on, like, between Doug and Axel. And they're like, like, what actually do they have on us? Are they just using us as like a scapegoat kind of thing? And like,
Yeah.
what are they going to do when this happens? Are they going to kill us or keep us alive? Like what's going on? And Doug thinks that there's a mole in the Lazarus group because he says he's seen Leland have two phones and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting to see, and like Leland is like the mole.
Yeah.
I use quotations on that.
See, and that's another weird thing. I feel like Doug is the one that's the most absorbent one that would see that.
Mm-hmm.
But Doug is also the guy that, seeing that, he would have instantly turned around and said something.
Yeah.
So that's another thing I hate, is that we're kind of breaking the mold on what these characters actually are and what we've seen that they do. And I know, like, of course, you can't sit there with the planning committee on doing these episodes and be like, oh yeah, we got to know exactly everything.
Yeah.
But like, you've built up a character that is pretty close to this, and for Doug to have not said anything earlier, I feel like really waters this down. Like,
well, he brings it up the Axel, and he even like turns off like the recorder device in their vehicle at the moment. So like he's like keeping this hush hush.
Because I think it would have been better if we would have gotten little Easter eggs throughout the past episodes we've covered already of that, and like Leland just kind of brushes people off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then when we got up to it, I feel like we would have done that and been like, oh my God, that's why Doug confronted Leland on this part about that. That's why somebody said this to Leland at one part. Like, we would have had all this extra stuff that you would have kind of sat back and be like, why didn't I know that?
Yeah.
And maybe gotten like some kind of a pseudo backstory for him, maybe of how he got recruited into Lazarus and went from there.
I think we'll get that like next episode.
Well, I mean, I'm sure like that we'll get more. We'll get all the way up to him getting into Lazarus. But I mean, if they would have tossed us some kind of little thing that we thought was an Easter egg with that, it wouldn't have been so blatantly obvious that it was Leland as the spy.
I didn't think it was going to be Leland. Like, I didn't know who it was going to be.
Well, when they started talking about it, I was instantly, like I said, it was between him and Doug, and I was like, wait, we've had stuff on all these guys. I haven't seen anything backstory wise on Leland. And, it all kind of kicked into place because I was like, okay, we've covered this, because with the church one, we covered, is it Elena?
Yeah.
Or Alina?
Elena.
We covered her. We had this whole thing with the oil rig. We covered Chris. We know enough about Axel. He's told us about his past enough. And
we know some about Doug.
Yeah, we know a chunk about Doug. Doug actually has worked in the stuff. We also kind of had a little bit of that with the stuff at the homeless camp with Doug. And of course that incorporated Axel too. So, I mean, we got these little bits and pieces of things that I feel like laid out enough for the characters that we had, but we never really had anything for Leland.
Yeah, no, yeah. And we also come to find out that Lazarus only gets 10 days to find Skinner.
Yeah.
And there's still a government sanctioned group at the moment still too.
Yeah, which, I mean, that's what really throws me off is why would it matter? If everybody's going to die anyway.
Why would it matter? And they even bring it up why are we even doing this? Why are we wasting time?
Well, I don't mean that. I mean just telling them that they have 10 days. That to me is irrelevant. It's kind of like we know everybody's going to die,
I mean, they already have 10 days to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, till the first person.
Yeah.
So I mean, the most anybody's going to live is another 30 days, and that would be whoever
they need Skinner
took it last.
They need Skinner to be alive.
That's true. They need Skinner to be alive because we find out he's going to be the first Hopna victim, and that will happen in the 10 days.
And then after the hearing, we find out that Leland was basically just playing that side. He wasn't really really giving him useful information.
Yeah.
Because we find out that Abel actually knows Leland's dad or was friends with his dad.
Yeah.
So that's how they kind of had the in on it. And then we end up seeing Lazarus gets a new member of the team. They get the fat cat that's been around the entire time this episode's been going on. But Chris didn't know that the cat was around. I thought it was funny. I thought it was a funny little gag. And Chris is kind of weak and stuff, so she's recovering. And she ends up finding the pill that she found in, was it episode 2?
I think it was episode 3.
Episode 3. And she's like, oh, I found this. I forgot I had it. Analyze it to see, which I still think this might be the cure. I'm just throwing it out there.
The little red pill.
Yeah, the little red orangish pill.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I feel like that would almost be fucking irrelevant to this at this point, though.
Well, they bring it up to be hey, guys, this is probably important.
Yeah. But I mean, the way it was all played off, it's just been enclosed on her floor or something for,
a couple weeks.
How many fucking episodes? And then not only that, she was hurt and everything, and now she's able to go through those clothes while she's damaged and everything, and go, yeah, well, I have this. Can you handle it? And I like that whole thing. I was like, that's just bullshit. If she had lost it or whatever, I would have been fine with that, and then accidentally found it. But the fact of she can't even really move, she's not in her room at all. And somehow everybody that's watching her and has her on bed rest, she's able to sneak off to her room and find this pill.
I thought it would have been funny if the cat ate it.
I don't know.
I just thought it would be funny.
Yeah. I don't know. At this point, I feel like we have a bunch of different blows that could happen or anything else like that would probably make this a lot better. Because at the current point right now, I think that this is just running on leftover steam.
At the moment?
Yeah, at the moment. It's basically Rocket Man after we've lost the gum on our jetpack. Like here soon. We don't know when, but it's going to blow up. Okay, so
So we move from this to we see the guy and the general, the Simcoe guy. They're talking about like Axel and him escaping from the different prisons, and they need to find what he's all about, and they need to get a ghost. So they go to the guy at the beginning. His name is HQ, is what they call him, and he is like the handler slash booker for this guy named sorry, you I think his name was. He's an assassin, and they want like a bunch of money to like go kill this guy. And they're like, okay, well, how do we know where you're gonna be able to kill this guy, Axel? And they're like, oh, let's do like a little test to see who if this guy is worth it, and then we'll end up hiring you and paying you your money, basically. So he's like, okay, yeah, that's fine. And so they go to like this abandoned building where like all these soldiers, I don't know if they're government soldiers or like mercenaries, some kind of soldier of fortune type of thing or something.
yeah,
They get there, they're like strapped to the nines. Like they are like, let's go, basically. They have a chopper. Like
full on SWAT.
Full on, like they look like they just stepped out of like Cyberpunk. That's what they look like. And we see them and they're like looking for this dude. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of weird. Like, what are they going to do? And this is probably the coolest scene in this episode.
Yeah.
So he's mostly gotten talking heads at this point. And we see this guy like systematically like take down these like armored like soldiers with like a wire and like a knife, which it was a really well animated scene. Very much like what?
It's a couple knives, okay?
I mean, it is a couple knives, but it looked like he was just using one knife and like taking it back. It looked like what it was.
Yeah, I think he's got 4 knives, maybe. And that's what it was. He was kind of like doing that, and then he had what is it called?
He had like a garrote wire or something.
Yeah, because it was like that, like almost like diamond wire or something. Because he was just able to like, he was just able to like cut through people's like necks and shit like that.
It was a pretty cool, well done scene.
But it was dense enough because the guys that he had hung, like they didn't fall off of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the whole thing and then having the little metronome go off too was pretty weird.
Yeah.
And then like none of these guys being able to like handle any of it.
It was sort of very reminiscent of the first episode.
Yeah. Well, and then the weird thing is that guy doing that and pulling almost all the bodies and everything into the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I love the scene where he like wraps the guy's neck around this thing. And like, I think like the knife is inside of the guy and like, he like drops down. Like,
and he pulls the guy with him. He does that a couple times. I think he kind of strings them all up where when he gets that last group of guys, he pulls it and they all come down. Mm-hmm. So, it's kind of like he was playing Puppet Master at that point.
It was just very well animated, very well choreographed. Like, it was like top notch, I felt like.
Yeah. And of course, we had the whole thing of, we want to put you through a test, we don't trust your stuff. And again, we're going to come back to this. I feel like every time up to this, for people to say, hey, I need to test XYZ on somebody in these last 10 days, I feel like it's irrelevant.
It is.
It's fucking irrelevant.
I think like, it was because they asked...
If somebody goes, I want money, and you have any inkling that they can do shit for you, you better open up those coffers and just start handing out the gold. Because honestly, like having 10 days, it is fucking stupid for me to anybody to be like, oh yeah, this is what it is. Like,
I very much feel like they only asked for the test. One really was because they asked for like, I think it was like $30 million or something like that.
Yeah.
Like it was an exorbitant amount of money. so much money.
Yeah.
Um, but it ends, and then he passed the test, and he has his target, which is Axel. They're going after Axel. Um,
Yeah.
but in a whole, like, what did you think of this, and like, what would you rate it out of 5?
Oh goodness. Um Gosh. I would have to say out of 5, I'm probably giving this like a, I don't know, a 3.
A 3.
Yeah, I mean the first part wasn't that great. The fight scene and stuff, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm
Um
about the same. I would give it a 3 as well. I watched this episode twice. I fell asleep the first time I watched this. So I guess it tells you something about this episode. I thought it was okay. I thought it was a lot better than like that last episode we watched where they were like, was it Into the Blue or something like that? Or
yeah,
where they were like going to like the submerged cities and stuff.
yeah,
I thought it was better than that episode.
yeah,
And it is definitely setting things up to go to move forward in this. Um, which I do like. We're gonna get probably a lot more action. I'm gonna say probably like the scene between this assassin guy and Axel is probably gonna be pretty good. Like, they seem to be very good fighters, both of them, and like maybe they're each other's equal, you know?
yeah. That's kind of what I thought was going to happen with all this kind of stuff going on.
Yeah. But I mean, I'll be damned if they move this into like a season 2. I don't know if I want to continue or not. I don't know. Because like I feel like at the point like they might be dragging it out, to be
Yeah,
honest. Because I heard, like, I was listening to a podcast today, and they were talking about Lazarus like a little bit. Like they're like, oh, yeah, I'm watching Lazarus, and like nobody is watching this, and apparently, like the guy who runs Cartoon Network, I forget what his name was, who
yeah,
runs Cartoon Network, really, really loves Cowboy Bebop, and he has been trying to get another Cowboy Bebop made.
yeah,
But he only likes the serious episodes of Cowboy Bebop. Now, a lot of people really remember like the fun, goofy episodes, you know? And
yeah,
so, like, he wanted, like, for him, he was like, Shinichiro, you can do whatever you want, but I want a serious Cowboy Bebop. So, from what I've heard, is that we have a different version of the Lazarus anime than Japan does.
oh goodness.
So I'm very curious of like, if this is true, what was taken out of the American version of Lazarus? You know,
Yeah, yeah,
it's interesting to think about. Like like, I mean, these people are pretty good at their source. It's the Anime
It-
World Order
it-
podcast.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and you would think that they wouldn't cut out very much for us over here, but I
Yeah,
mean,
they
I
probably
guess if
just cut out
somebody
like the
else,
corny stuff.
yeah, I bet if somebody did something like that, but I mean, like if that's what it is, I mean, this guy has really like fucked this anime over pretty good.
Yeah,
I mean, like it's not popular at all. I would say out of a lot of the ones that we've covered from Netflix,
I mean HBO.
yeah, yeah, um, that this one is bombing pretty fucking hard.
Well, it got an Emmy nomination recently.
Did it win the award?
Not yet, but it did
Did
get
it?
nominated for an Emmy. I don't know what
Did
Emmy. I don't know what category it got nominated for, but it is nominated.
well, I'm just gonna say I don't know what those other ones are, but I would say this one's probably at the bottom of the barrel of
I don't know.
those.
I mean, I still don't hate this anime at all. I'm still on the ride for it. Okay, I'm still enjoying the ride, even with the bumps in the road and
Yeah,
the flaws that it has.
you know, it really reminds me of this other anime that like some people love and some people hate, but like it's very forgetful.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what that one is?
Is it Ergo Proxy?
It's Ergo Proxy. um, yeah, I mean, I feel like this one isn't as strong as the other stuff. I don't know what we're missing in it. If it is just the whole entire like seriousness part of it, um, it just to me too. It just doesn't really have that much heart to it, and that's another thing that's
I don't
really
know.
getting
I
me
mean,
on it.
I feel like it does. I feel like it does, and it's trying to tell a story that it wants to tell. And you're either on board or you're not on board, to be honest. And I mean, like,
Um,
people have always wanted Shinichiro Watanabe to create another Cowboy Bebop, and he's stated basically, he's like, I don't want to do that again.
yeah, yeah.
So, like, people, I feel like this show gets an unfair shake, even though we've ourselves compared it to Cowboy Bebop. I don't think you can compare it to Bebop.
No, no. I agree with that. Like I said, I feel like it's at the bottom of the barrel of the rest of them.
I don't. I feel like eventually this will probably have legs, and it'll probably be one of those cult following animes. To
I
be
mean, but
honest.
over his other works is what I'm
Oh, his
saying.
other works. Where his other works are like Kids on the Slope. I think he did.
I don't think I've ever seen
He
Kids on the
did
Slope.
Kids on the Slope, Terror in Residence,
I don't think I've seen that either.
Samurai Champloo,
Yeah, yeah,
and then he did Space Dandy.
yeah. Cowboy Go Up.
Yeah, Cowboy
Yeah,
Bebop.
yeah. Uh,
And he did
yeah,
other things for other anime too, but he wasn't like in charge of those.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, I feel like any different ways, like some of the stuff could be worked out. I mean, with the right voice acting and stuff, we definitely could have gotten like this is a whole thing, and instead of them trying to find Hopna, they're trying to find My Little Pony. You know, like it all depends on the verbiage and stuff of what's recorded for us and what was played with. So, I mean, to not really see it in its actual entirety of what stuff is because somebody else goes, oh, well, I like Cowboy Bebop, at least just the serious parts of it. To me, that's just somebody playing to what they like instead of what actually sells, and it's not as professional, I feel like, as it
I
should
mean,
be.
you might be right, but I don't know if that's 100% true.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he
I
was
don't know.
also the guy who um, really wanted another season of Big O. So, if you know Big O, you
I
know
mean,
season
is he?
two ended pretty bad because their creator didn't know how to end it.
I don't think I've seen the second season of Big O either.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Is that where they had the fight and it was like a toss up, kind of like I don't know.
It's been a
It was
long time since I've watched Big O.
it had the whole tomato thing, like life's a tomato.
It's been a really long time since I've watched that show. To
Okay,
be honest, I don't remember. Maybe we'll try to find it, and maybe we'll cover that on the podcast one day.
yeah, because I mean, I like Big O, but it to me has the same pull as like Cowboy Bebop. You kind of know what's going on, but you don't exactly know what's
Yeah,
going on. Doesn't exactly have a congruent story or anything else like that, but you have kind of some stuff you could tie together, and in the long run, you kind of feel like you're watching Godzilla.
like I really feel like when this is all said and done, I feel like this is going to be a good story. Like I have hope that it's going to be a good story.
I'm only gonna say that I would like to be on that with you, but judging by the audience that most things we have nowadays, I don't see a lot of the kids and stuff that watch anime nowadays
I mean,
to give this that
probably.
chance.
I mean, probably because I work with a. He's not a kid, but I think he's like 20 or 19 or 20. I think he is,
Yeah,
and he likes anime. He's like, I was like, oh yeah, I'm watching Lazarus. He was like,
yeah,
what?
yeah, yeah.
I was like, Lazarus, go check it out. You know. He was like, my
Yeah.
favorite anime is Death Note. And I was like, Death Note was made when you were born.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah.
he's only got to watch Platinum End to have all that ruined for him.
Ugh,
So
ugh, ugh. Talk about an anime that had so much potential and started very strong, I feel like.
yeah,
But
yeah.
anyways, Jin, where can people find you at?
Um, you can find me at Manga Restart on Instagram. Of course, I cover manga content over there, or you can find me at Bard's Tavern, where I cover board games and D&D content. And of course, you'll always find me here on the Otakuology podcast because we're amazing.
And you can find me over at the Otaku Mike on Instagram and YouTube, where I talk all about comic books, as well as you can find me here on Otakuology. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure to go rate us on Spotify. Leave a comment on Apple Podcasts, 5 stars, and we'll read your comment on the podcast. Thanks for listening. I'll catch you guys on the next episode.
See you next Tuesday.